Hello. All right. So this is Bridget and I giving you context about our music performance anxiety course, which is coming up on January 12th. So if you'd like to sign up, we're gonna have a conversation just for a few half an hour or so, where you can get some insight. This is the first of three conversations that we're gonna have Instagram Live. So stay tuned. Here we are. Bridget,
Hi, Zahili.
how do we do this? Do we go for it? Tell me why you
Yeah.
are in my life. Why are you in my life?
Well, I'm in your life because I help people do hard things, basically. So I'm a coach and I work with people who are at a place in their life where they realize they need some help to make progress on something they want to make progress with. That's not often what it looks like when they come to me. They just say, I feel stuck is often the thing I hear first. And if I remember correctly, that's kind of where you were. More something needs to change. And so you and I started working together.
Yeah.
And why are you in my life?
You are in my life. I'm in your life because I needed you. I needed somebody. The funny thing about this is you were a conversation. You were a topic of conversation among musicians here at Berkeley, because a lot of them were, in conversation with you. So your name was passed down in this small circle of friends that I have. And subconsciously, I just knew that I needed assistance, some form of help, not even related to music. I was feeling life challenges. I was feeling this need to grow, and I really didn't have direction. So I thought maybe talking to you was going to be an option for that. And in the midst of that, we discovered what we discovered with the music, which made our relationship even more expand even more. So yeah,
Right. And from there grew out a long conversation about music performance anxiety, which is the very human side of being a musician. And you I mean, you talk about this in in the course, so we won't go into it now. But you did a master's, and that
yeah,
was your thesis,
hmm
and working on that together, you realized that this was a big, 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 big issue in your life.
yeah,
Um, and we kind of grew on your thesis and made an online course together to help other musicians
yes,
deal
yeah,
with this topic because you told me something that made me fall off my chair, which was that
exactly.
we don't talk about this in the music industry, which I still struggle to believe it. I mean, I know it's accurate, but it's just shocking to me that this thing that debilitates many people
Yeah,
um, isn't talked about. So we want to talk about it. We're bringing it out into the open, and in the course there's we have videos and a workbook and we have some live sessions, but there's a couple of concepts that are key to the program that we have, and one of them is emotional. We talk about music performance anxiety as emotional time travel.
yeah,
That being that anxiety is a projection into the future, so it's future worry about what's going to happen, and rumination is time travel backward, trying to go back over things that didn't go well, almost as if you could, in this rumination activity, fix the thing that you didn't like, or you're ashamed of, or you're afraid of, or you think will crash your career.
right.
So, um, with that context, Siley, when you think about stage fright,
Yeah.
using a different word for it, what does that feel like for you, past or future? What's that experience like?
What it used to be, the rumination, and this is something I'm gonna repeat what you just said, because that's a realization I needed to have myself, that the whole idea of music performance anxiety, when we just isolate the word anxiety, it actually means you're concerned about something that hasn't happened yet, that it's in the future. That is something I'm just repeating it because I think it's important for everybody to hear it. And I needed to learn it, that then rumination comes from, whatever has happened in the past and you just ruminated on it, blah, 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 blah. So for me, the rumination had to do with whatever experience didn't go well in the past. And I'm carrying that to the next concert, thinking this may repeat again, which then puts me again in the future, thinking, okay, that mistake may happen. So it's a combination of the two.
So when you're there, you're on your bench and your hands are on the keys. What's that like when you're in this experience? How much of you is where? In the past, the present, the future. Like where are you in that moment when
At
the
that point, more in the future than in the past. Because I think it's a combination. Of course, I'm thinking that past is going to repeat again.
Hmm.
But at that point, I'm already seeing that repetition happening, that mistake happening in the future. So I'm more hanging on to the idea of what may happen that is not going to be pleasant.
And that's key right there, what you're saying, which is I'm more in the future than I am right here on the bench with my hands on the keys. Right. You're playing because you're a practiced musician at this point, very professional. You have taught your body to push through something like debilitating anxiety and continue
Right.
to have a performance that most audience members probably aren't perceiving that you're having this time traveling experience while you're on that bench, right? They're not having that experience of you because you're a high level trained musician. So that's something that is particular to people who have a practice of practice, which is I can make myself push through anything, comma, even if I shouldn't, or even if it's not good for me. And when we got into this conversation, one of the things that we kind of surfaced there was what would be available to you as a performer if that part of you that's time traveling were there on the bench sharing with the audience that little bit more of yourself or that lot more, a bigger part of yourself, and to bring music back to something that was fun and enjoyable
Yeah.
for you. You talked about that like it wasn't fun for a while, right? Like it was
Yeah.
performing became a chore.
Yeah. And the
Um,
reason why it wasn't fun is because I wasn't present. I was already thinking about if something goes wrong, what are the consequences of that? And this is just too much pressure. You just stop enjoying yourself, the music, the message, and the purpose because you're already in your mind at the expense of what's going to happen, what is people going to think, yada, 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 right? So it's like that idea of you're being judged, you're being judged, you're being judged. Something's going to happen, somebody's going to say something. So, I mean, it's just too much pressure.
but you're describing there the hypervigilance that happens of,
Mm.
you know, I'm aware of it right now. Is I see this fold in my shirt and I want to fix it, right? Like this, right? People are looking at me. I'm being scrutinized. Scrutinized is like looking very, very carefully for all of the details. I'm going to trip up. Oh, I missed a note there. They heard it. A part of you is engaged in that hypervigilance.
Right.
So the whole premise of this is what is available to you as a musician, as a performer, when your brain doesn't have to be doing the time travel,
Yeah.
backward or forward,
Mm.
or that vigilance. You talked about mostly forward, but I've heard stories from people about the backward one, which is when I'm playing a piece that I had a incident on, whether I froze, I forgot the notes, I missed something significant, I missed a whole section, whatever. Then they're back in the past in that fear of, this happened to me. The nervous system activates, sets off a fire alarm. So in the thinking about emotional time travel, this rumination and anxiety, you are having an experience of fear
Yeah, that's
with,
correct.
with anxiety. And
Yeah.
you want to say a little bit about your symptoms because you have pretty distinct
The
symptoms.
somatic symptoms. Yeah, cold hands. I have them right now. Cold hands, palpitations, dry throat,
Hmm.
trembling, And I have to say, as I say all of that, I know I feel the cold hands, but I feel more in control now. It gives me so much happiness.
Yeah.
Some of all of those sensations have definitely minimized to a great degree, but I have a clear memory because I dealt with that for so many years. Trembling, palpitations, dry throat, 100%. And then it goes, with the cognitive sensations, which is you just forget the music. That's a big one.
All of those things you're describing are your body is in distress. The nervous system is signaling that there's a very big threat going on.
Right,
And that you're almost like somebody's chasing you to attack you.
right,
That's similar, right? While you're just preparing to play a piece of music, you probably know more than well enough
right.
to do something that you've dedicated your life to. It's a choice you made. You've dedicated years and years and years to it.
Yeah,
So the facts are not coming into bear to impact
right.
the idea that you're not under threat. All of that, you are having experience of it, the threat sensations in your body. You're feeling that fear, comma, and, which is very important, that comma and. That means something else can happen because in a distressed state, your system is looking for safety and security. It's a
Yeah,
black and white world, safe, not safe, and it's looking for that.
right.
When you introduce the concept of comma and, it means there's something else that's possible. So you are having a fear sensation, comma and the threat isn't what you think it is.
Yeah,
And that's the biggest shift that alleviates some of that, the heaviness and the pressure of the fear, right? That's
right.
that's what the hard part is. Um, so if time travel is backward, the last time I played this piece, the last time I used, it could be anything that could be a trigger. The last, if you had a disaster, and it doesn't even have to be a disaster. Again, the audience, and I'm an audience member, doesn't usually know any of this.
That's correct.
Right? We don't notice. I once went to a performance at Carnegie because I live in New York, and I was sitting next to two, and it was a pianist I knew, and I was a little annoyed because he was playing the piece on his knees, and I'm like, dude, but I was in it, but every time, clearly, the person on stage made a little, tremor. That guy was like, and I'm like, oh man, make sure not to sit next to somebody who's a musician next time because they're ruining it for me. I don't know that as an audience member, right? So I'm not noticing that. So when you're in that place where you're remembering disaster, and it could be a trigger like last time I played on this brand of piano, last time it was this bench, we become superstitious. I can't wear that dress because, or that suit because when I did that last time, like this thing happened. These kinds of thoughts become a way to protect against this extreme distressed state.
Yeah,
So just keep that in mind. So when you're time traveling back and forth, so the other concept we work on a lot is how to come back from that. How to be, I don't know if you can ever be 100% present when you're doing something as high level as a big performance because
yeah.
I'm not a musician. I can't speak to that. I can tell you a part of me is in vigilance right now because this is not my world. I'm used to being in the background. I'm used to being on the phone, maybe on a Zoom call. I'm the helper behind the scenes, and Zahili is like a hand behind my back, pushing me out into the public. So I'm an equivalent experience. Just setting up this Instagram account. I didn't have one. And so I noticed the moment I was filling in my information, the name, the password, and then I was going to click submit. And that knot right here, right, was like, oh, you're going to have to be public. People are going to look at you. Oh no. And I was like, oh. So this happens also for non-performance, and you have it for other areas in your life. Public speaking. This is a thing that happens in public speaking.
Yeah.
So the remedy is to come back from that. Stop the time travel, get out of the machine, and come back to the present, to your hands on the instrument, to the
To the
feel
music.
of your voice expanding in your body. Whatever kind of musicianship you have, whatever your um, instrument, or if you're a singer, to come back to that sensation of, I'm in this body, it's right now, and right now I'm doing something I know really well. And of course, the train could go off the cliff and this could be a disaster, but history does not support that thought.
Yeah.
If you are in that place playing that, having that performance, historically, you haven't had the experience of driving trains off cliffs, right?
Yeah. And here's the other thing though that I have learned. Allowing ourselves the vulnerability to be open to a moment that we're not expecting, it's an opportunity to find something new. You know, whether we like it or not, we're either going to realize there's something we need to work on right there. We're either going to realize a new sound that we didn't, come across in our practice, or something is going to happen that either that is not necessarily a failure but a learning experience. That flips it for me as well, especially as a jazz musician. In the classical world, I think there's possibilities to analyze that as well. But as a as a jazz musician, arriving where I'm not necessarily either trained or used to or comfortable with, it's an opportunity to expand yourself nonetheless. And making peace with that actually just, makes a huge difference.
So, can you make that real for us musically right now, Sally? Can you show us what this experience, this time travel in both directions is, and a resolution to it? Would you be willing to be vulnerable and just kind of go to your keyboard and because music helps that felt sense arrive earlier.
Oh, I think it's better if I do this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing, fancy. I'm literally just going to.
Okay, you don't need to do that. This is what this is about. You're trying to set it up like,
Okay.
right? I'm asking you and you're saying yes, so go for it, right? Like you're being very brave.
Something like that.
Yeah, thank you. So, that I hear there the tension and the release, the searching and the grounding,
Mm,
fear and then the presence.
mm,
That and that's the practice, right? It's instead of being in this tension on either side.
yeah. What I'm gathering right now, it's how to make lemonade out of lemons in a way.
Yes.
In the sense of you you I'm gonna say push for lack of better words. You have pushed me right now to be creative out of those feelings,
Mm.
right? So I'm oh, how does this fear feel like? How does this rumination feel like if I go to the back? Okay, I'm thinking backwards. Rumination is, that lower register. I'm thinking anxiety, going into the future. It's this, pitch that could be dissonant, that is high, is just annoying, and it's those worlds sort of happening at the same time, and sort of colliding. And what the resolution means to me is the moment I start hearing something that is more consonant, that is more at peace. So the opportunity to make an exercise out of this, I'm thinking about the musician that's about to go on stage, and it's in the green room and it has a piano available to them, and probably is going through how to deal with these emotions and these feelings. This is probably an opportunity to be just creative and just surrender to that and see where that takes them.
And that's another thing that came out of this, which is what became available to you as a
Mm,
musician in the way of creation, because you didn't, that part of you that doesn't need to be vigilant in that way and
right,
responding to the fear
right,
could be curious and see what the music, where you could go with the music, right? And that was one of the really interesting evolutions of you. But we have time to talk about that in later times.
right.
So you did a great job, I think, describing there what it's like to come back
Yeah,
from the time travel.
yeah. The one thing I'd say, another way to come back is to be fully aware of the why are you on stage? What's the whole purpose of it all? There's a music that you have prepared for. There's a message behind that music, and that has been a strong, uh, alignment for me to realize, if I'm really clear and strong in the message that I want to, deliver, um, the noise goes away. And I mean, humanly speaking, there's always something in there, but the message and the purpose behind the music becomes way stronger. Therefore, there's no, time to be paying attention to the noise. So, which keeps you more in the present.
Can you say something about either, and you can pick which one of these you want to respond to, either how you come back when you notice you've left the seat in the
Hmm.
present moment, or how you stay present, more present than just pushing through?
Say that again.
So either you say you're in a performance, because we've worked on this a lot, and you know now, like, uh-oh, I'm thinking about the future.
Yeah.
How do you come back from that? Can I say why I'm asking this question? So I remember we did
Sure.
a session where you were practicing with me and you missed some keys, right?
Right.
In the thing, and you were like, and then like, oh, well, actually, what I can do with this is, and you immediately found a way to stop the thing of, oh, if I miss those keys in the performance, I'm never going to get invited back to the space.
Right.
My band members are going to hate me, or whatever the story was.
Right.
To, oh, here's how I can cover it. Do you remember that? You want to say
Yeah,
something?
cover
Like,
it, or do something creative with it. So again, the coming back is staying present with the music, staying open to the idea of, and I say this carefully, mistakes are gonna come. Is it really a mistake? It's up to us. Yeah, I think that would be it. Whether we want to look at it as a mistake, which will change the entire dynamic of whatever comes next, because we're hanging on to that, or whether we just look at that as a possibility to really get to know ourselves better. How do we come out of that? What new harmony is in there? What new notes, what new tone is in that chord that we are not familiar with? And how that is relating to the whole.
so these are all learnable skills, is
Mhm.
the good news here. You learned them. You have a very different experience now. These
Right.
are these are things you can learn how to do. to change your experience of stage fright.
Right.
Um, so if you have it, which you probably do because you're human, stage fright is not doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It means that you learned something once upon a time, and
Yeah.
now you can learn something else.
Right.
The brain has that capacity to change, and uh, we learn new things all the time. It is not true that maybe you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can teach an old human, and I can attest to that, new tricks, right? This is here I am on Instagram.
Yeah.
um, uh, which I didn't think I would ever do because of my experience of anxiety about this.
Right.
Uh, so these are things we teach in the course.
Yes.
Um, and do you want to just say one thing about the structure of the course, Sally, for people who are
Yeah.
curious about that?
So first thing is the course is going to run on January 12th, and sign ups are available right now. It's a 5-day course in which we just dive in for every single person attending, where you'll find your why, because we all have a why behind what we feel um, when we go on stage, that gets in the way of having an enjoyable performance. So we start with the why, which is super important, and then we go into various layers of not only understanding yourself as an artist, but also to find the tools that are going to help you, have a more enjoyable performance. Being redundant, but that's pretty much the idea right there. Anything that you want to say? I mean, what we are doing right now is one of the themes that we touch upon: the time traveling, the understanding of past and future, and the importance of staying present. Definitely one of the subjects that we touched upon.
And another one is, and we're going to talk about this in our next live session here, or live, I don't know, what do you
Our
call
next
them?
life in the future.
Next live, our next live, I guess it's called a live. So here
Yes.
my ignorance is showing up. Um, is when we're in those moments, the fear being pulled backward by the fear or forward by the fear, almost as if by the hair on the ground. I mean, it can be very intense for some people.
Right.
We're not a reliable reporter about our own experience. The catastrophizing. I did a terrible show. That was awful. Isn't accurate, comma, and it is the thought you're having in the moment. And that just ramps up. That is fuel on the fire of anxiety or rumination. That'll set the rumination going at warp speed to help you figure out how you can not have that disaster again in the future. So we're going to talk about that on our next live.
Yeah.
But do you want to just play us out, Sally?
Oh my God.
You don't have to. That's okay.
I wouldn't be a reliable what do you say?
Reporter.
Okay, wait. There's something really short. Something really short. Yeah.
So that's why we did this program. It's about the music. So you as a musician can be available to the music you're creating and you're presenting and sharing with the world.
This is awesome. I love you, Bridget.
Thanks for being with us, and we look forward to the next time. And you want to tell them how they can sign up for the course, Eileen?
Yeah, so my course, our course is actually available on my website. I'll do a follow-up and do another post so that you know, but it's zahilizamora.com, and you're gonna see it right there, MPA workshop, so that you can sign up. Once again, it runs starting on January 12th. And this right here is the first of two other conversations that we're going to have, just to give you more insight on some of the conversations, the work that you can do to grab the proper tools to deal with your stage fright.